Hey, scrappy people, it's Traci Reed here today, and I am working on a layout with this photo from our vacation last year, and I'm using this beautiful cut file from Citrus Twist's March collections of cut files, March 2022, and I am first going to duplicate it because what I want to do is I want to release the clipping mask and delete the outline, so I'm left with just the insides of the cut file because I'm going to have Silhouette do all of the work for me, and I'm going to have Silhouette do all of the paper piecing for me. So I'm going to delete all of the excess pieces that I don't want to print out, or cut out. I'm not going to end up cutting out these tiny little leaves or the little berries as well because they're just too minute for what I want. So I'm going to end up deleting those, but first I'm going to start moving things around. So I know that all of the leaves are going to be the same green, so I'm going to start moving them into the corner over here so that I can group them together, which is going to make it easier down the line to cut everything out of the same piece of paper. So what I'm trying to do here, I'm going to delete these in a second. There we go. What I'm trying to do here is group everything that's going to be cut out of the same color or the same piece of paper together. So I'm going to delete all these extra things, and then I'm going to start moving all of the leaves up to that top right or top left corner so that I can not waste paper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on my Silhouette mat four 4x4 4x4 inch pieces of paper, each one in a different color. The leaves are of course going to be green, and then each flower is going to be its own color as well. So I'm going to drag this over here, and I'm going to drag this second one out of the way too, just so that I can separate them a little bit so that it's easier for me to make sure that I have only the right petals selected so that I can make a compound path again and make this all one object. So you can see I am now rearranging them on my Silhouette mat to make them easy to cut out. So I'm making sure that they're staying within their little 4-inch blocks. And then I'm going to move these around just a little bit so that they're not touching, because I want all of these leaves to be individual pieces, and I need them to be far enough apart that when I create an offset path via the offset panel over here, that they don't combine into one object. So I'm going to offset at 0.05 because they need just enough of an offset that they aren't too detailed and they go behind the cut file easily. I'm going to do the same thing with the flowers over here, and because they are a compound path, it creates one cut line around the outside edges that I then went in and I deleted all of the little black parts from the original cut file and any places inside the cut lines where it was going to cut again, like if it didn't completely close off that shape. So now I'm going to put these, sorry about the cats, I'm going to put these in 4-inch boxes, make sure that everything is arranged nicely, and then I'm going to send it to my Silhouette. I'm also going to cut 2 copies of the original cut file, both one regular and one flipped horizontally, so that I can have one that's facing forward and then another one to close off the back side of the finished piece so that it is a cut, like a beautiful cut file from both sides and not like it doesn't have an ugly back. So you will see me do that here in real life in a second. Alright, so I've got everything cut out here. You can see I've cut 2 copies of this back to back so that I can sandwich these cuts in between them. I used solids, well, kind of, which don't send the cops. I know that I don't use cardstock, but I swear I'm okay. So this is the photo that I'm working with. We saw it in the last video. I think it'll match pretty well. I couldn't find the exact colors, but it's okay. No big deal. We will work with it. So what I'm going to actually be working with today is, I wasn't going to do this when I started this video, but then I decided when I was looking at my supplies that the Citrus Twist March kits, like the back to basics stuff, actually will work really well, especially the printables are a really great color combo. I mean, obviously I'm not going to use tulips, but they're a really great color combo for this photo. So I think I'm going to use those. Look at that. Look at how well those play together. I know that's a neutral, but it's really cool architecturally, and so is this photo. Anyway, so I think I'm going to go with those, and then pull in some of the DIY kit I made as well. But these are the embellishments. Like, look at that. I bet I can make these work. They're kind of the same vibe as the photo. It's getting really low. That's weird. Anyway, so let's pull those together and see what kind of magic we make. All right, so the first thing that needs to be done is the tedious work of putting this cut file together. I sped this way up because, again, it is very tedious. I'm going to go in here with liquid glue along all the edges of the cut file on the back. And then this was the hardest thing to align. I don't know why. I guess because there were so many points. I'm going to go in and just fit all of these pieces together as well as possible. It's not going to be perfect. I'm never an advocate for making everything perfect, but it's going to be beautiful, and that's what matters. So I'm going to go through and do each one of these leaves, and I'm a little bit annoyed at myself because, well, I didn't do this on purpose, right? I wasn't intending on using the Back to Basics collection when I picked my colors for my cut file. So the green that I chose is really conflicts with the green in the Back to Basics collection. So it kind of eliminates my ability to use a lot of the green in the Back to Basics collection, which is sad because the green in the Back to Basics collection is beautiful. So we'll work around it though. All right, the last thing I need to do is put the reversed cut file on the back, and you'll see, I cut that out a little bit too much, sorry. You'll see as I work that the back of the cut file is pretty much the same as the front of the cut file, but the back is a little bit, I think this is actually the back. The back is a little bit different because the orange flower in the middle there is a different color on the other side. And I don't think I realized that they were two different colors. It's like a different tone, but it's kind of gives a cool effect. So I'm going to apply one of these sticky extenders from Citrus Twist onto this cut file so that I don't have to cut into it. They're designed to hole punch, but I don't want to for this one, so I'm not going to. And this will give like kind of a cool window with it sticking further out too, so it works. It works well enough, you'll see, because I'm going to include the same paper on both sides of the rings to pull these pages together, so it'll make it so that you can see that, because see how you can see through where the rings are going to be? It'll make it so that you can see the paper extending from the photo to the other side. So I did fuss around quite a bit with the papers until I settled on something I like, but that was because, oh, you could see, sorry, I had it flipped over. I had the cut file flipped over so you could see that it was pink on the other side. You'll see it again. Keep an eye out. Anyway, I struggled a little bit with the papers that I wanted to choose. There it is, pink. Because I really wanted to work in color, but then I felt like the color was so distracting with the beautiful color in the photo and the beautiful color in the cut file that I struggled a little bit to make it work. I'm going to use basically only this orange and pink floral, and I'm going to create a pocket out of it so that I can hide my journaling. And then I'm going to put a lot of things on top of it, so it's really going to mitigate all of that orange. And just leave it as a good accent instead. I'm using redline tape to create rails around where my journal card is going to go so that it can slide in and out of that pocket easily and stop where it needs to stop. So that's basically what I always do for these kind of pockets. There we go. And then because the printables from Citrus Twist are traveler's notebook size, they are not sized large enough for using without page protectors in your Life Crafted album. So I do need to extend both sides of the page so that they are 5 inches, and I did that with that beautiful wordy paper, and you can see what I'm talking about. Now that the wordy paper extends from one side of the page to the other, and so having this on plastic right there, you can see that it extends from one side of the page to the other, whereas if I had just punched directly into the cut file, you would kind of lose that effect. So I'm really happy with that decision to use the extender instead. So I'm going to use this journal card that says another favorite moment, and I'm going to start building a cluster around it. I have lots and lots of embellishments to choose from, as one does when you have a new collection to work with. This is the first time I'm working with any of the back to basics stuff, so I've got lots of stuff to choose from. I decided that these chipboard clouds were great anchors for this journal card, so that's where I'm going to start. Then I want to have this other journal card offset behind it just because it says what I want to remember. I'm not going to use it as an actual journal card. So I'm making sure that it doesn't look like I left it blank on accident. So I'm making sure that it's scooted over to the right enough that it's just an accent. Now I'm going to pull out a bunch of these florals because I am definitely going to go in on the florals, and I'm going to omit any of them that have that green that I can't cover up, and you can see me looking and going, oh yeah, no, that green is not going to work, but the teal works pretty well. It's not quite as vibrant as the teal in the photo, but it brings over some of that tealy color to the right hand side, so that really works for me. And then I'm going to cover up, I do pick one that has green and I'll cover up some of that green, but most of the leaves that I work with are going to be teal or pink, which works because the photo is teal and pink. So I'm going to be focusing mainly on creating a nice vertical composition because the photo has such strong vertical lines that I'm kind of recreating the whole arch and squared offness of the mural itself. Obviously there's going to be a cut file in between these two pages, so it's not like an exact replica, an exact copy of the shape, but it kind of just mimics it and creates sort of like, almost it feels like two doorways on this page. So I'm going to start gluing these down and making sure that everything fits well together. But I end up adding quite a few florals to this page, which kind of cracks me up. You know, I love florals. I use them often, but there are so many different kinds of flowers on this page between the photo and the cut file and the flowers from the collection that it's kind of funny to me, but for some reason it all works together in a really beautiful way. And normally I'm really averse to using different shaped florals or different kind, or like florals that don't look like they all came from the same collection together, but this really worked for me and I really enjoy it. So I'm going to put this label down, framed by flowers 2, to put the date on, or put something on. I think I cover it up enough that I don't actually put anything on it, maybe. Life. It's not like I need to put the date on it. We know when we were in Miami. I've put the date on lots and lots of photos already. And then I felt like I needed one more cluster up in the top right of this side because it felt a little bit blank up there, like there's a lot of white space going on. So I'm going to put another flower up there with a word bit. Okay, so now that's the basis for my layout. We're getting close to done here. I thought about maybe extending the flower, but when I cut it, it didn't look great, so we're not going to do that. But I'm getting close to done here, just going to decorate with a couple more things like hearts from the collection. I wanted to bring over a little bit more of the navy blue. I felt like the page needed something, like just a different kind of shape. So I'm going to add in some arrows. I liked the pink as well. I felt like we were a little bit blue heavy. And so I'm going to add in these white hearts too, sort of like enamel dots. Then I'm going to call it good. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Traci M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. And I will see you next time. Thank you.